Good day, everyone. My name is Lebohang Likhojane. I'm originally from Bloemfontein. I studied at the University of the Free State, and I started an online business. I started a business. I didn't actually start an online business from the word go. What happened was I was sitting with a few friends of mine. I remember during winter time when we were sitting and we were just like, Kokasi, in the hood, how it is, where you just sit sometimes and there are some of your friends who are not in varsity, they don't have jobs and they're just sitting in the hood. And I was like, yo, niggas, let's just start something quickly, and then see how it goes. And I took some money, and then we contributed to the financing of the business. We bought stock. I started a fruit and veg market where we were selling fruit and veg as informal traders in town. This was in Bloemfontein CBD. By then, I was still studying at the University of the Free State. It's crazy how I would go to classes and then later on come back and join the guys and sell. And people would be surprised when they saw me on the street selling fruit and veg. So, and then I think in 2016, I came and visited a friend of mine. So we sat and I told him about what I'm busy with in Bloemfontein. And I also saw an opportunity to go online with this thing and just do it officially, run it as a formal business, because I was still applying some of the business knowledge that I was learning at school and applying it to the business. So I saw that it is viable for me to start this business and run it, And what happened was we sat down because he was studying branding at Vega. So he came from that angle, and I was like, hey, dude, I think we have something. We can start something here. And then we started with the job with concepts and just putting everything on paper. And what happened was I thought about, look, I'm not trying to sell things that are perishables. I'm trying to sell essential stuff, your groceries, your cleaning stuff, the stuff that you buy on a monthly basis. And I want to sell them in combos, That's how I came up with the name. It was smart. It's basically Smart Essentials, but I was like, no, Smart Essentials doesn't sound nice, and let's just come up with something cool. And then it was SmartSentials. That's how we came up with the name of SmartSentials. So this is the business that I run, and this is how I ventured into e-commerce. This was and this was 4 years back, mind you, and a lot of people were still skeptical on buying online and doing all those things. So all these years, I've been learning quite a lot from pivoting my business, from going broke, from taking a leap, jumping and moving to Joburg with literally no plan, but just this business. So that was an interesting thing. That's an interesting thing of my story. However, this is my philosophy. This is basically what I live by. Until lambs become lions. I'm really a firm believer of an inclusive economy that speaks to the transformation of people that were previously disadvantaged. And these are Black people. And I don't want to shy away from saying Black people were previously disadvantaged. We were previously disadvantaged. And I think we still are economically disadvantaged because of systematic exclusions. I mean, if you think about it, when I speak about systematic exclusion, if you think about stories of going to government agencies and you not being able to get funding because of some red tapes and a lot of stuff, So those are some of the things that are close to my heart and that I always try to push forward, as ideas and as things that can turn into practical actions, And I took it upon myself to build this business. And by building this business, I saw how we can change our lives and change what society thinks of certain things and certain industries as well. Because it really disturbed me that we don't have a superstore or a big supermarket that is a grocery based. So we only know 5 big retailers in the country. So for me, that was really disturbing. And how this philosophy aligns with my goals and my business goals basically is to create sustainable, decent jobs. In order for us to have an inclusive economy, it means that people have to have jobs, and decent jobs that is. And why am I emphasizing on decent jobs is because you'd look at how retail as a whole, as an industry, has been. I mean, like if you work in retail, I mean, like a lot of people frown upon it, and it's classed in such a way that when you work in retail, you are, I don't know, man, like, but I think there's a lot of stereotypes around it. If you go to your, I mean, like your shop, right? There's already stereotypes of how shop right tellers are towards us, and so those are some of the things that I found disturbing, that retail jobs can't always be frowned upon. It's a decent job. Someone is earning a living from doing something, So, and how I do that with SmartSentials is that we give people, basically even the people that I work with, we are constantly learning about everything that we do, I mean, like with one of my employees, she literally came not knowing a lot of stuff, and now she can know. She does bookkeeping for me. She does for the company. She does bookkeeping. She can do a lot of things. She can do codes. She can invoice now. So it's not just being a teller, it's about other stuff. And now she's learning how to create content for our Facebook pages and stuff like that, and managing those platforms. So those are some of the stuff that I speak about when I say bridging the digital divide, because we need to think differently about the jobs that we are going to, the jobs that are coming, and how we are going to create these jobs. So yeah, it's for me, it's what excites me. It's what makes me do what I do, So, and I mean, like the other things that I'm thinking about is when you go to, I mean, like we had a delivery in Soweto a day ago, and I realized that, and I asked myself questions of why are most delivery companies not coming into the townships? Why are they not delivering in townships? And to my surprise, I realized that no, the GPS, I mean, like even the GPS, when you get into townships, it can't pick up certain names, street names, it can't, and there's fears of people will get robbed, those stereotypes, because we've been identified as anything black is criminal, anything township is dangerous, So those are some of the stuff that we are trying to change. Those are some of the stuff that SmartSentials is trying to change and trying to preach through our work. So if I can tell you about the business, like I said, I started it as an informal trader where we're selling fruit and veg. And mind you, there's a lot of money on the streets, There's a lot of money, and then that's how I saw that there's money in retail, and it's a viable business, and it can really be a sustainable business for years. So that's how I went into grocery e-groceries, and then we developed and then that's when and I started the business with very cheap. I started it on Facebook with a Facebook page, and from there, that's when I started trying to test whether there are people who can buy groceries online. And then I saw the demand, and then that's when I moved into creating a website. And yeah, so with e-commerce, I think some of the things that we need to think about is when starting an e-commerce business, you don't necessarily have to think too much about it, and it's easy. I mean, like currently I run a grocery store, but I don't keep groceries, so because I basically operate online, and most of the groceries that you'll see on my advertisements, on my posts and stuff like that, it's basically things that we design, but we don't have groceries. We don't keep groceries. So it's a low overhead business when you start it online, and that's why I'd advise you to start an online grocery store. And the customer, and with e-commerce, one thing that I realize is that if you are not customer centric, you will lose a lot of clients, because with digital, a lot of people now have access to a lot of information, and it means that they have access to a lot of services as well. So the only way that you can win in this game is by giving the best customer service, and that's what we that's what we pride ourselves in. We give the best customer service. I don't care what other people are doing. I don't care if someone is building an app now, because at the end of the day, it's just technology, but there needs to be a human effect to it, and that's what we do. You know? So since COVID-19, how has our business changed? We were delivering, before we delivered to households, before COVID, we were delivering strictly to businesses. So that was our business. We're delivering to businesses, and that was that, But because of COVID-19, we started delivering to individual clients, to households. We started changing our marketing, messaging, our marketing, and how we market our business and our messaging. And we started including the consumers, the individual consumers. And that's how we pivoted to business to customer. And it's an interesting thing, because for me, it has always been difficult to do business to customer, because individuals at that time, it was a very difficult space, because a lot of people were just afraid to pay online. It's either you pay online, or whether the fears would be informed by, will this delivery really come to me, and fraud and all those stuff. So I really, because I've been doing this for the past 4 years, I realized how, and I'm realizing how it's changing year by year, and how people are adapting to e-commerce and adapting to buying online. So yeah, that's how we ended up changing to business to customer again because of COVID. And then I thought about, okay, cool, now it's time for me to build an app, because I was very reluctant in building an app. A lot of people have been asking me, when are you building an app? But an app, not now. We don't have a big client base for us to have an app, so it's pointless to build an app when there's no. And that's one thing I'd like to advise on, that don't rush into building apps because they sound cool, because it's a cool thing to do. Build an app if there's a need, because you don't want to spend a lot of money building an app that's not going to meet a need in society or whatever you're trying to do. So if you are building an app, you need to think about, what is this app addressing? Why should people have an app? So that's my thinking behind my business and how I do it. And the app will be a subscription based, of course. But with options to cancel soon. With options to cancel whenever you want. But yeah, that's really about it. So some of the key things that I've learned in this business are the customer, not necessarily the customer, but the value chain of the business. As much as it's an online business, it still has a value chain, and the value chain is the one that gives the customer satisfaction, because once your value chain is not in place, a lot of things will be disturbed. With, let's say, for instance, customer acquisition and retention. You'll be sending a marketing, you create an integrated marketing message of what you're selling and everything else, and put it on all your social media platforms. But the tricky part is that the marketing is powerful and it's beautiful and it's appealing to everyone, but you can't deliver because your logistics are not in place. Because once your logistics are not in place and your marketing is good, you can't retain the client. So you need to think about that. Everything needs to be in place. So those are some of the things that I've learned, and those were the most painful of experiences. I remember one time we got a client. This was B2B, a corporate client, where we got it was a big client, and it was going to be like a good 3-year contract with them. And what happened was, because our delivery our logistics were not in place, and we were found wanting, and we lost the client because our delivery was not in place, because we could not deliver on the day that they wanted their delivery. So those are some of the stuff that I learned in e-commerce, and the headaches of e-commerce, the pain points of running an e-commerce business, and always making sure that you have enough stock. If you're in clothing, you need to make sure that you tell people that there's only 12 left, or there's only 20, depending on what is your stock. So it's basically like running a business that's, for me, e-commerce is just an automation of an industry. And what I mean about automation of an industry, the mere fact that I started my business traditionally selling fruit and veg, I realized that for me to get more clients, e-commerce can afford me that. But the business is not necessarily the business. The business itself can still survive without e-commerce, So those are some of the things that you need to think about. Thank you guys for watching my presentation. My name is still Lebohang Likhojane, and I just basically gave you a case study of an e-commerce business through my online grocery store, which is SmartSentials. And there's a lot of things that we can talk about, but because of the time and what was allocated for us. But if you do have any other questions on setting it up, how to go about it, do drop your questions with Joburg, with Hive at Joburg, and then you can take it from there on all their social media pages, and then I can get your questions from there, and then I'll answer them. Thank you very much, guys.